My name is Bruce and I live in Buninyong. And when we first moved here, we didn't have a garden, basically a row of blue gums and one or two other trees scattered around. Apart from that, the fences were in poor condition. There was blackberries everywhere. Fence line was just chock-a-block with very tall blackberries. It was about 15 minutes outside of Ballarat. It was a lot less crowded. And Buninyong is quite a pretty place, being on the side of Mount Buninyong volcano. It's in some ways, a very English-looking place because it's got lovely stone walls that are built around the place. It's generally quite lush and green for most of the year. I suppose everyone has to have an interest, and some people follow football, some people their passion is running or football or maybe racing cars. Everyone has to have an interest, and our interest, trees and gardens. Where it came from initially, I'm not quite sure, but ever since I was a child, I've had an interest in gardening, collecting seeds like acorns and planting them in Mum's garden, and watching them grow, much to my mother's displeasure, I think. She probably pulled out many an oak tree. And I suppose my interest in trees possibly came from my interest also in bushwalking and visiting amazing places like up in the Blue Mountains in northern New South Wales, walking through the rainforests and seeing just such magnificent trees and just admiring the beauty of a tree, whether it's got buttress roots, whether it's a deciduous tree with bare branches, and seeing the new shoots come in springtime. The real just beauty and the feeling you get when you're in a forest of trees, and just it's something very special. So in the last 4 years, we got rid of our stock. We rabbit-proofed the property, and since then we've been able to get gardens established. So if you don't have rabbits, you can plant things and not have to worry about them being eaten. Woodwork was just another interest. Found that I had skills in woodwork and also in design. It's not related to gardening at all, I think. In fact, it's quite the opposite in many ways, in that in one you're growing a beautiful tree and the other one you're cutting down a beautiful tree to create timber. And I don't think I could ever bear to cut down a beautiful tree just for the timber. If somebody else has done it and is willing to sell me the timber, then I'm quite happy to buy it and create beautiful things out of it. When you're using beautiful timber and you're using it to make beautiful items of furniture that can be enjoyed, I think that's a very worthwhile. And the sort of furniture and timber work that I do is work that will last, much longer than my lifetime, and of people who have bought my pieces of furniture and design over the years, I'm sure will be handed down to my family and for probably many generations later. So the furniture that I've made, we sit on, we eat our dinner at, we store our things in, we look at the mirror that's framed in a piece of timber, we turn on a lamp that allows us to have light at night that's on a beautiful piece of timber. And I suppose being an engineer, working with steel a lot, working with industrial stuff, that creative side that's in me, I think, as well can come out in the way I use timber. I was a woodworker before I was an engineer, but I think being an engineer has improved my woodwork. Furniture is all about joinery, and being an engineer allows you to design the proportions of your joins in a way that maximises their strength and effectiveness. So it allows you, I suppose, more freedom. It allows you to build things lighter that are still quite strong. So you only have to look at a chair and see the precision in the joinery, and the size of the joinery has been sized just right to provide the strength that's required in a chair when people sit on it every day, rock on it, and at the same time make it light enough for it to be functional, to be moved around. And I think this works the same in the garden as well. I can't do gardening unless I've sat down and thought about, and possibly even drawn up a plan of where I'm going to put things and what it's going to look like. Not just when you plant a tree, but also when the tree in 20 years' time, and the size of the tree and how the proportions of the tree, how it's going to fit in with the rest of the plants that are put in around it and the buildings that are around it. It's the things we do in our life that we find interesting, and doing things together with your family create a bond. You're all interested in one thing, or some of you are interested in certain things. Those are the things you tend to focus on because there's a common area of interest. So it allows you to develop relationships, to have memories of, hey, going to a special place. I mean, even just recently we went to Werribee Mansion for Father's Day, and we had the opportunity of all walking around and enjoying beautiful trees and beautiful open spaces, playing frisbee in them, sitting down on a rug and having lunch together. So, we're in a lovely environment, and it's a lovely environment, adds to the memory of a place and adds to the experience and adds to those shared memories that you share with your family. Also, the number one person in my life, my wife, she enjoys gardening as well. So, it's something that we can do together that we both really enjoy. So it gives us an opportunity of enjoying doing something together. So that's very special. We can both enjoy the satisfaction that comes from planting something together and watching it grow. Gardens is one of those things that's constantly changing. As the seasons change, we can enjoy changes in the garden, and we look forward to springtime every year when the bulbs come up and seeing the colours and seeing things special. So that's something that we can enjoy together. And I suppose in terms of spirituality, being a Christian, understanding that there's a creator, and that I look at a beautiful tree, I look at a forest, I look at a garden, and I think that they're beautiful, but I don't worship them. I worship He who made them, and that's God. And having a special relationship with God through His Son Christ, Jesus, allows me to just enjoy that to another level that people that don't have that faith, I think, probably don't appreciate. Just that enjoyment and that enjoyment that I can feel, and knowing that someone created this, and that's beautiful. It gives me insight to the mind and the perfection and the love of God.